Hi, I'm here to continue my Hazbin Hotel Season 2 character ranking. I previously went from 25 to 16, so I'm now on to number 15, which is Carmilla. I think that Carmilla is a character that really grew on me in the first season. I think that she's great in the first season. She has a lot of fantastic moments and a pretty decent character arc for a supporting character. I did feel somewhat disappointed by her role in the second season. It felt like she regressed as a character and had to learn similar stuff to the first season that I felt like she already knew a lot about. I still think she's a very charming character and likable, and she certainly has a few cool moments, but I do wish that her storyline in season 2 had been done a little bit differently. Hopefully, she's much better in the third season. 14 is Baxter, who I think is a good addition to the Hazbin Hotel character ensemble, and he didn't get as big of a role as I thought he would. And I think that's okay because there was so much going on in Hazbin Hotel. I think it made sense to focus on other characters. But what he did get to do was pretty fun. He has an entertaining personality, some good interactions with Nifty. I think that he's a nice, solid, funny character, and I hope he continues getting stuff to do. 13 is Abel, who doesn't get a lot to do in season 2, but he did have some amusing moments later on, and he has a great moment towards the end of the season that really got my attention. And I think how things are left for Abel are very interesting, and I now feel very curious to see uh, his future. I wonder what type of role he'll get in season 3. I think that he's a character that could get higher on my character ranking after season 3 because I see a lot of potential in him, and so far he's already a good character. Number 12 is Husk. Husk is very likable in the second season. He has one moment where I think he really wasn't being fair to Angel, even though I think he had understandable reasons for that. But I still think he could have been a little less rude about it. But aside from that, I think that Husk feels more sympathetic than he did in the first season. He was already a pretty sympathetic character. I love Keith David's voice so much, and I think that Husk is a pretty consistently good supporting character in the second season. He's still not one of the characters that really pops out with the most interesting and entertaining personality, but in terms of a great voice, Husk is one of the very best. And I could see him potentially getting higher in a ranking, depending on how things go in season 3. Number 11, I think, could be one of my biggest hot takes. Number 11 is Alistair. I do like Alistair in the second season. I think that he has some funny moments. He's often a brilliant character who is able to be a very clever mastermind. The problem is that I don't think that Alistair's role in the second season is that interesting. I feel like he spends a lot of the season being Vox's prisoner, and even though he has interesting motivations and fun interactions with Vox, I feel like Alistair stopped being one of the big characters that really pops out. There was a time where I thought Alistair was the biggest standout character in Hazbin Hotel, and I feel like that really wasn't the case in season 2. I feel like he was a solid character, but not one of the better characters in a lot of instances. Even though I do think he is fun, I see lots of potential to Alistair because of what happens towards the end of the season, so I could see him getting back into my top 10 and getting much higher in the ranking. So he's still a good character, and I think he could go back to being a great character like I thought he was in a lot of season 1. Number 10 is Loot. And then Loot being in the top 10 could seem a bit odd because she doesn't have the biggest role in season 2, but what she got to do was great. I think that the second episode of the second season of Hazbin Hotel is the least interesting episode of the season, but Loot is fantastic in it and really elevates the quality of the episode. Her song is fantastic, uh, and when she does show up in the second season, she's very intimidating. She's a cool character. She has a lot of interesting tragedy to her. I was expecting her to really step up and be the big villain of the second season. And I still think there's a lot of potential for Lute to be the big villain of the show. Um, so she hasn't risen to her full potential yet, but even with that potential not being fully explored, I still think that she's a fantastic antagonist. Number 9 is Serpentius, who is very lovable in the second season. His backstory is explored, and I think it's very interesting. It's not what I was expecting. He's a very likable character that's able to have vulnerability and compassion. He's able to really grow as a character, and I really enjoy what he brings to the show. It doesn't feel like he's as directly involved in some of the main things since he's separated from the main characters, but he is still really good. I really enjoy him. Number 8 for me is Sarah, a character that I think was really elevated by the second season of Hazbin Hotel. I thought she was interesting in the first season. I thought she had potential to be one of the more interesting, compelling characters overall, and I think that the second season really helped that with Sarah, because I thought she had the potential to be the big villain of the show, but also to have some of her more sympathetic qualities explored, and I think the second season explores her sympathetic qualities in a very interesting way, and she's still not perfect. She still has a lot of flaws, but I think there's a lot of humanity to her and a lot of very interesting things where she's not a pure evil character that leads others, but she's also not pure good, and I think that the morality of her is very interesting and fascinating, and I think she really got to step up in the second season of Hazbin Hotel, and I think that she is very well written and fascinating in the season. Number 7 is Lucifer. I think something that's a lot of fun about the second season of Hazbin Hotel is that Lucifer feels like one of the regular characters. He didn't appear that much in the first season. I think that he was only in 2 episodes. He really stood out, left a huge impression in the episodes that he appeared in. But I love having him get to interact with other characters and have his fun personality explored and watch him really step up and try to be a really good father. And he makes a lot of mistakes, but he's hilarious. He's oddly adorable. He's incredibly fun to watch, and I really like what's done with him in the second season. I think that he's fantastic in both seasons of Hazbin Hotel, and I look forward to seeing what eventually gets done with him in a third season. And number 6 is Zestiel, and I can understand if anybody thinks that Zestiel is way too high in my ranking. But if I'm being honest, I felt tempted to put Zestiel even higher. I am obsessed with his design, and I think I'm kind of in love with his personality. Such a sophisticated, cool character with such a great presence. I love his very close connection to Carmilla, and it really felt like Zestiel was a good guy in the second season, where he didn't approve of what Carmilla was doing, but didn't act rude to her about it, and he was very quick to forgive her. He felt like a very understanding, supportive friend to Carmilla, and he is just delightful whenever he shows up. I got so excited uh, when he showed up, and I so badly want him to get more to do. So far, not quite in the top five, but he is getting close. So that's how I feel 15 through 6 of Hazbin Hotel characters.